So I was standing on the subway platform waiting for my train at around 8:30 in the morning like I do every day. I was reading because that's what I do at the train station. I get on the train and I'm reading this book where there's this passage where this guy has just cut his hand and he goes to the emergency room and there's this really graphic language sort of describing how he was cut and how it's bleeding all over the place and how it's very unpleasant. It's so graphic that I'm getting kind of grossed out, and so I'm holding onto the bar, standing up, and I'm reading this, and I'm just like, ugh, and I put it away. And so I'm standing there for a few minutes after I'd put my book away, and I took my phone out, and I started like going through my phone, and I was going, think about anything else. So I'm on Twitter, I'm like trying to get this image of pooling blood out of my head. And the first thing I noticed was I was getting really hot. So I took my scarf off, and unbuttoned my jacket. And everything was getting sort of deafening, like I couldn't hear, and I knew what was happening. These were the early stages of passing out. So I was starting to faint. And so I was starting to get that nauseous feeling, and things were starting to kind of tunnel in, and I was like, this is not good. I'm going to pass out on this crowded subway car. And so I sort of crunch over, and I put my head down while I'm still like holding onto the bar because I'm not sitting, I'm standing because there wasn't any place to sit. And so I'm like, my breathing is getting a little weird because I'm like trying to get oxygen and like got my head down and like, and I'm hot and like I feel nauseous and everything is terrible. And then this woman, God bless this woman, she looks at me and she says, "Are you okay?" And I look at her and I say, "I kind of feel like I'm gonna pass out." And she immediately lets me sit down, at which point I sort of just crumple and, you know, put my head down and like just try to get blood rushing to my head. And literally just sitting down was immediately better. The only thing that could have been better than sitting down was having a glass of water, and I didn't have one handy, but the sitting was fine. She takes a wet nap out of her purse and she's like, "Here, would you like to put this on your face?" And I take it and I hold on to it like it is the golden fleece. Like Jason and the freaking Argonauts was after this. And so I sort of sit there and I try to regain my composure, and I'm looking at the ground, and then I slowly look up. I'm like, no one else is looking at me, which is surprising because I thought more people would be like, "What's going on?" But they weren't, so that was good. At the next stop, someone got off, so the woman took the seat next to me, and she sat down, and I was by that time feeling okay enough that I could keep my head up, and I turned to her and I was like, "Thank you very much. That's never happened to me in public before." She says, "Oh, that's happened to me, you know, it's a very vulnerable feeling." And she turns to me and says, "Well, do you think you should go home? You may have the flu." And I say, "No, I don't think so." I now had to explain to this woman that no, I was not ill. I had just been reading something so graphic that it had physically made me faint. And I explained to her that I had this thing about blood, and it was like a very bloody scene, and it made me very, like, I can't handle blood. No blood. And she joked with me and said, "Well, I hope you're not going to nursing school or anything." And I was like, "Oh no, not me. No." So that's story time today with Jordan. Thanks for listening, and until next time. Bye. I don't know what that was at the end. I had some indecision.